Tell me which skit best reflects you and your partner when things get heated. You know those things you argue about that are reoccurring things in your relationship? Is it like this? Okay, I just had to make you laugh. But seriously, people often will go to either silence in an argument or they'll get worked up and start yelling. It's one or the other. And, you know, it's proven that you're one or two conversations, major conversations away from creating the exact life you want. Seriously, it's proven. Communication is that important. And it goes for every area of your life. Relationships with your partner, your kids, negotiations in business, relationships with your colleagues, your coworkers, relationships with your friends. Communication is so important that it will create the exact life you want, because you have to be good at talking to people and negotiating. You can literally improve your relationship right now with anyone in anything. 2 conversations if you learn how to do it right. So it's, if you learn to communicate from the heart, comes out from the heart chakra, out the throat, then, you know, it can change your life. So easier said than done. Here's 2 tips I can give you to at least start having more dialogue in your relationship. So, and I bet you always think the other person is to blame, or at least, you know, you get worked up enough that you are, but it's 50-50. So number 1 is the goal of getting back to shared dialogue or conversation. And so if someone else is flipping out or going into silence, your job is to get them back into dialogue. That's your job, especially if you're trying to have an important conversation that's going to really make a difference if you solve it, especially in your life or your relationship. So what happens when someone flips out or goes silent? That goes for you or the other person. As soon as something is mentioned, especially something that we often get worked up about, or that's a reoccurring argument, or where high stakes are involved, our body flips in to fight or flight mode. Literally, you know, it thinks, you know, that this is something to fear. So our fear kicks in, like a tiger's chasing us, and we go into fight or flight. What happens when we go into fight or flight? The blood gets taken out of our brain and put into our limbs, right? If there's a tiger coming, why would we need it in our brain? We need it in our limbs to run. So literally, your body views this as a threat. And it's funny because we need our brain to talk, but yet it put it all into our limbs. So the key is to calm down. Even take a breath or pause. Stop letting things go like this because your brain isn't working right and you need it most. So you got to welcome the blood back to the brain. And this goes for when you get worked up, they get worked up, or someone's going to silence. Both of you have to calm down. And how do you do that? Pausing. You got to get the other person to calm down. You have to calm down. And so it could be as simple as taking breaths, like I said, you know, the other time, or just pausing, rethinking. Number 2, one of the most important and also helps with this is remember your goals. And remember what your heart wants. So if you can remember what your goals and hearts wants, then you won't make stupid decisions. If you have a goal, it's funny how when you're in fight or flight mode, that you do the contrary. Okay, so you just pause, get back to your heart. What's your goal? Because you're often doing the contrary when you're not thinking right. Okay? So, you know, if you want a good marriage, why do you do the opposite when you're having a fight? If your goal is a good marriage, why do you do things contrary to having a good marriage? Or why do you do things contrary to negotiating with your daughter? Remember the goal. It comes from the heart. That will calm you down so that you can think right. All right, thank you so much. That's my tips on communication. If you liked it, share with a friend, like my video. And we're talking about expressing from the heart, coming out through the throat chakra. We talk about chakras in a way more logical way in my group. So if you kind of want to learn these tips and learn more about the chakras in a more logical way, check out my group link, join. Thank you. This is my video challenge and I'm doing it for 10 days. Mwah! See you tomorrow.